How's it going, everybody? Cabbage here at YMCA Camp Weaver again. Today I want to show you around our archery range a little bit and get you a small amount of the experience that the kids get when they're out here at camp getting to shoot archery with us. The first thing we always do with the archery range is we go through our archery commands, and then we go through over here our archery rules to make sure that the kids are all doing everything as safely as they possibly can. Obviously they'll always have a staff member here with them, helping them and assisting them and getting them better at shooting archery. Before we get rolling, what I'm going to do is teach you a little bit about the different parts of the equipment that we're going to be using. So here, obviously, I have an arrow. Our arrows are fiberglass. If you look up here to the front of the arrow, you'll see we have a blunted tip, which is for target shooting. That tip obviously is as safe as it can be, but definitely still can be dangerous, so we always have to make sure we're following the safety rules. Moving down the arrow, this part in the middle is called the shaft. And the shaft obviously bends and flexes a little bit, and is made of fiberglass and is really cool. Back here at the back, we've got three different vanes, and the vanes, you'll notice as I spin it, two of them are orange and one of them is green on this arrow. The one that's a different color is called the indicator vane. The indicator vane is going to help me a little bit later with making sure that I put my arrow on my bow correctly. And then here at the very back, I've got my nock. The nock is actually how the arrow will connect to the bowstring, and what keeps it from falling off and just dropping onto the ground while I'm getting set up. So I'll put my arrow back in my quiver here, and I'll go ahead and grab my bow. One of the most important rules at archery is to always keep your bow pointed downrange, making sure that whether it's got an arrow on it or not, you do not point it back across against children. What I'm going to do is turn it just a little bit so that you can still see. Over here we've got a bunch of different parts of the bow. Down here and up here we have the limbs of the bow, the lower and the upper limb. And those limbs are actually what give this bow its name. This is a recurve bow, and it's called a recurve bow because it curves twice. You can see there's a curve here, and then it curves again out towards the end of both limbs. And that extra little curve gives it extra power right as it's getting ready to release the arrow, and makes it be able to shoot a little bit farther than a standard curved arrow or a long bow. Past the limbs, right here we've got the body of the bow. This is our arrow rest, so this little black piece right here, this is actually where the arrow will be sitting when I'm holding it on the bow. Right here where I'm holding, this is the grip. You can see it's molded to fit nicely to my hand. And then moving back, we've got our string. The string connects the two limbs and allows us to impart energy into the bow. And then it's a little harder to see, but here in the center, there's a section that's been wrapped, and it's called the center serving. And that's actually the part that protects the strings, and it allows your fingers somewhere to go when you're gripping on the bow. And then right in the middle of it, we've got this serving bead. So this bead right here is right where we're going to knock our arrow under. So right underneath that bead is where we'll knock our arrow. All right. So now that we've got our bow and we know all the different parts, we're going to go through the process of actually taking a shot. The way that we like to have participants load their bow is to have it nice and horizontal. Reach over top and you grab one arrow at a time out of your quiver. I'm going to lay it in my arrow rest right there. I'm going to move forward until my knocking point is just on the left side for me of that bead. And I'm going to go ahead and pull back, and you might be able to hear it click and twang. And that means that now my arrow is attached, and you can see it's not going to go anywhere after I let go. At this point, I will turn my bow up. I'm going to make sure I've got my feet nice and wide apart, about shoulder width. And I'm going to take what I call a T stance. So I'm just going to stick out both my arms. I'm going to look down my arm that's holding my bow. I'm going to see if I'm pointed at the target or not. If I am pointed at the target, awesome. And if I'm not, what I'll do is I'll actually, instead of turning my whole body like this, which can be very bad for your archery stance, I'm going to just move my feet around a little bit, or shuffle them back and forth in order to get myself aimed correctly. Once I'm aimed correctly, I'm going to make sure that I have my elbow nice and straight. And a trick you can do with archery is actually take your two fingers here and tuck them against the grip. You see that right there? What that does is it helps me turn my arm out of the way so that the string doesn't end up popping into my arm. It's also why I have this nice yellow arm guard on, to make sure that I don't get a little bruise if I do happen to hit myself with the string. Once I've got my arm nice and straight, I'm going to take what we call our Katniss salute. So tuck my pinky, cover it with my thumb, and I've got 3 fingers. And then I will wrap those 3 fingers with the first crease of my finger right there on the string. Once I've got that, I'm going to pull back till my thumb touches the corner of my smile, aim, and then all I have to do to fire is just let go. Then we'll see how I did and see if I can get a shot on target. All right, here we go. So y'all might have noticed that there was a little bump when I took my shot. Our range is incredible, but it's actually designed for campers. And me being 6'1", when I hold my bow at full extension, I got a little close to our wooden beam up here. So for the shooting line for adults, we usually take a little step back to make sure that we are clear of that. Always continuing to look out for that safety factor and making sure that you can hit a nice, crisp bullseye. Thanks, and I hope you have a good day.